Let's go!
I was checking out the scouting report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed,
What?
and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me.
It's that time. We are back with another episode. Welcome in to The Rewind, brought to you by GSC 3, Global Sports Entertainment 3. I am the captain of the ship, your host, Monty Moss, joined shortly by my co-host, who's back after his week off. I hope he enjoyed his break, but he needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway because he hasn't been back. Make him feel important for a minute. Chicago's finest, Temple alum's finest, four-time state champion, over 400 career wins in his co-head coaching career, 4 state championships. He is inducted into the Nork Hall of Fame. His resume doesn't need to be talked about, but welcome back, my main man, Bryant BG Garvin, Chicago's finest. Bryant, what's good? Hope you enjoyed your week off. Where are we at on your financial advisory journey to success? Where are we? Welcome back.
I'm halfway, man. You know, I had to remember half of this shit, you know what I mean? And coming back from the last time for me failing an exam, but I'm getting there. I'm averaging about 90s and 80s in my exam. Give me a couple more weeks and I'll be okay. You know, one thing I sat here and I just thought about it.
You missed me? You missed me?
No, I didn't fucking miss you. I really didn't. So, but at the end of the day, I sat back and we were talking about this previously. Mixing Chicago and Jersey and Newark with Philly. I'm crazy as hell. I understand it. Now it makes sense. Like, I've been to 3 fucked up places. And all 3 raised me. No wonder I'm a fucking lunatic. It makes sense now. I just sat there and thought about it. Wow, that's why I'm crazy. But here we go. That's ready to rock and roll, baby.
America. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Public service announcement. It took Bryant over 50 years to finally realize he is a fucked up individual, a lunatic, a psycho. 50 years in the record. America, write it down. We appreciate it. Tonight's show, we'll start off in a fashion that we probably normally never, ever hope to do again. It's something that personally I'm not prepared for as a host of the show. I'm sure Brian isn't either. It is a little bit personal for the both of us, more so for Bryant because he's has been in his young man life for over 6 years, including recruiting him out of the 8th grade to come to Newark Eastside. And I really don't know which way to go with this, so I'm just going to go the best way I know. Former Newark Eastside player Elijah Olaniyi, a former Stony Brook and Miami basketball player, passed away last week at the age of 26 due to a long battle with brain cancer. Before I dig any deeper with where I'm going to go, I just want to give a moment of silence for Elijah's family, Dave, Olaniyi, Gabe, and Hannah, as well as their Olaniyi family, both parents. I know the mom is deceased, but I just want to give a moment of silence before I begin, and I'll continue afterwards.
Being closer to home, for one, definitely miss my family. And I also say coming back to Stony Brook to win. I haven't won. Like, yeah, the personal accolades are nice, but I haven't won at Stony Brook, really. So that's probably the most exciting part. Just coming back and give it one last hoorah before I'm really done with college. I understand what the conference is. It's like, hey, you can't sleep on the number 8 team because they might beat you at home on 12 o'clock on a Sunday. And it's going to be so, like, really just making sure these guys understand that, especially now that crowds and fans are going to be a factor again. It's like, last year, even though I was somewhere else, like, I know every game felt like a scrimmage. And it was like, bringing your own energy and stuff like that was hard. But now, okay, like, we're not going to have to do that anymore. Like, hopefully we're going to have the band in the crowd, cheerleaders on the sidelines, and the seats full. So just making sure the guys understand, hey, let's worry about ourselves and do what we have to do, and we'll be okay.
So I'll start with this. Former Stony Brook and Miami basketball player Elijah Olaniyi has died after a battle with cancer, brain cancer. He was 26 years old. Olaniyi spent 3 years with Stony Brook, transferred to Miami for 1 season, finished his college career with the Seawolves in 2021 through 22. Elijah twice earned all AEC honors and was the league's rookie of the year in the 2017-18 season after being recruited out of Newark, New Jersey, where Bryant and Coach Andy Tavares coached. A diagnosis of brain cancer in November of 2023 effectively ended Olaniyi's professional pursuits as a basketball player overseas after a long and productive college career. He underwent 3 surgeries the following month to remove 95% of the tumor in his brain early in 2024, but biopsy results came back that it was cancerous. He began radiation and chemotherapy treatments weeks later. Olaniyi later learned from his doctor that during the 2021 through 2022 season, his last with Stony Brook, struggles with his mental health and seizures with symptoms of being diagnosed with a brain tumor. As doctors found out recently, Olaniyi has had brain cancer since his final year of college, when his mental health was derailing the end of what was once a storied Stony Brook career. Doctors have linked Olaniyi's behavior and symptoms during the 2021 through 2022 season to his tumor and its placement on his brain. Aside from irregular emotional behavior, one of the side effects of the cancer that he exhibited was seizures. After his illustrious college career, Olaniyi is widely regarded as one of the most productive players in the history of the Stony Brook basketball program. His name mentioned across the record books. He is currently 9th on the all-time scoring list, 7th all-time in steals, and 10th all-time in school history in total rebounds. Now, if you guys didn't know who Olaniyi was as a player, I'll tell you this right now. Olaniyi was an American basketball player known for his impact college career, primarily with the Stony Brook Seawolves after a brief tenure with the Miami Hurricanes. His notable accomplishments include American East Rookie of the Year in 2018. His freshman year at Stony Brook, Olaniyi averaged 7.3 rebounds per game, leading all freshmen in the conference. His performance earned him American East Rookie of the Year award and a spot on the American East All-Rookie team. Third team All-American in 2019. During his sophomore season, he improved his game and averages to 12.5 rebounds a game, earning a place on third team All-American East that year. First team All-American East in 2020. As a junior, Olaniyi had a standout year, averaging 18.6 rebounds per game. His performance secured him a spot on the first team All-American East that year. Career milestones: Olaniyi scored his 1,000th career point on January 18, 2020 during a game against Albany. He concluded his college career season and his college career with 17 points, 1,417. At Stony Brook, 8th most in program history, as I stated earlier, and scored a season high 220 points in his 1 season at Miami Hurricanes. Now, as I said earlier, Elijah is a player that Bryant has known personally for the last 5-6 years as well. Throughout his college career, Bryant played a major factor along with Coach Hawkins and Coach Tavares in recruiting him to come to Eastside. And during his time at Eastside in 2014, if you guys remember, or if you don't know, Eastside was 30-2 that season, was ranked 15th in the country, all of the United States of America, was a part of the 2014 state championship team. He is an alumni of Eastside, graduating the class of 2017. In 2017, he was first team all conference, as well as 2016, he was group 4 first team. Bryant started playing basketball in the 8th grade. Wasn't his passion growing up. Came in and worked hard. I was very blessed to be a part of the basketball program my 4 years there, manager, and then being an SID. But Bryant, give us your thoughts as we've learned last week with the passing of Olaniyi and what Elijah has personally meant to you in your life as well as to your coaching career.
Oh man, this is tough. It's been tough to deal with over the past 2 years. It's hard to put this in words. It's something that I've pretty much think about this young man every day. I went to go see him one time while he was sick, maybe about 6 months ago. It's something that with me seeing death of a lot of my friends around my age and seeing a 26-year-old young man with a bright future pass away, kind of put things in perspective of how we are here just a short time. I remember one game in particular, Elijah used some choice words towards me on the bench, and it was out of character. And I kind of didn't understand why. He's a 17-year-old kid that just kind of blurted out of the blue. He used to complain about headaches during his senior year. So in my humbling opinion, I think that was the beginning of his progression of something that we had no idea what was going on. He later came back and told me that, that he would have these headaches. He would just pop some pills and the headache will go away, but then it'll come back again and he just take medication every day. That now that I know the symptoms that pretty much came over to becoming cancerous, it was a shell shock for me. Did a lot of crying with this young man. Don't want to get to that point right now because his funeral was on Friday and Saturday of this week. But at the end of the day, my condolences goes out to his family and all his friends, all the Eastside family, all the coaches that I've coached with over the past 23 years. And it's just a tough thing to see him pass away when he just lost his mother not too long ago. And I was basically trying to help him with that. So to see two people pass away within the past 7-8 years is just traumatic. And, my heart goes out to the family. Great kid.
Thank you, Elijah, for the memories that you have created personally in my life with myself, the practices, just your dedication to excellence, your commitment to being a leader. I remember he took it as a priority to always grab Coach T's kids after school, Daniel and Ryan. And Elijah worked tremendously hard in the weight room, took his offseason serious, and was committed to being the absolute best. We had some great years. I know we didn't get to the top of the mountain after the 2014 state championship, but damn it, we were close. But he's one of the all-time Eastside greats. Let's just call it for how I see it. He may not be in the stat books for 1,000-point scorer or top 5 scorer in Eastside history, but his impact on the floor on both ends was something that you must see during his tenure there. He went on to Stony Brook and accomplished great things. A lot of schools didn't want to recruit him, but Stony Brook believed in him. And he had a hell of a career at Stony Brook, and then going down to Miami to earn his master's was something that he wanted to do, and is something that he did. So I personally want to say thank you, Elijah, for all you've done for me. It's all as well you've done for the Eastside basketball community, the players, the coaches, and the impact that you had for the school and the amount of lives you touched. And 26, as they say, the good does die young. And you will be missed. And I feel like it's our responsibility to keep your legacy moving, keep your legacy alive, and to keep your name always talked about in any Eastside basketball or Stony Brook conversation. So as I said earlier, my prayers go out to Dave, his brother, Gabe, his brother, and his sister, Hannah. And, man, this is a tough pill to swallow. And Eastside basketball community has lost some great ones within the last 5 to 10 years, Poach being one of them.
Yeah, that was Pocho was
It's funny because a memory came up on my Facebook page yesterday. March 11, 2019, the date exact, after, we've won a 4th state championship, and Poach was a part of that run. His presence on the bench was amazing. His presence in the locker room was amazing. And everyone knew that after he had beat cancer once and was in remission, it came back. And to see him to come with all the players, cut the net down in front of a sold-out crowd during a school day is something a memory that I'll never forget. But 2 great ones up in heaven. Save a seat for the both of us. Elijah, I love you. Thank you. Bryant, anything else?
No, that's it.
Tough pill to swallow on Friday and Saturday for sure.
Yeah. Let's get this segment going. So it's going to be a rough road, and thinking about all this stuff, just kind of get moving. Let me in a better spirit. Because
Elijah, we dedicate tonight's show to you, my man. Tonight's episode of The Rewind, brought to you by Global Sports Entertainment 3, will be for Elijah. His presence, his spirit is here, and we dedicate this show to him tonight. So, moving on, introducing our special guest, named a light carrier by the great Oprah Winfrey and a deserved crown recipient from the Dallas Cowboys and Crown Royal. This person knows how to amplify messages and carries a voice for the voiceless. Originally from Lansing, Michigan, she has established an impressive background in hotel and restaurant management in the United States, as well as hosted back-to-back back-to-school drives. She knows how to create interactive conversations through social media, including prominent figures such as Anita Baker, the great Emma Smith, Olympic gold medalist Michelle Carter, Carrie Champion, Jesse Holley, former Dallas Cowboys player Desmond Howard, Go Blue, former Michigan and NFL player, the legendary Jane Kennedy, Overton, and Tika Sumter, to name a few. However, in her free time, she enjoys going to sporting events, concerts, and giving back to the community through volunteer service and weekend getaways with her husband, Tim. Shout out to Tim. She currently resides in the great old state of Dallas, Texas, where Bryant and I will be in a few weeks. But without further ado, I want to introduce my co-host, my former podcast partner in crime. We've been on her illustrious run the last 5-6 years. She has her own podcast, Heard That, with Marisa Tigney. I've been on her platform multiple times, and we've done a few projects together in our tenure. So this is no secret for me. But Marisa, appreciate you taking the time. Could not have done this without you to bring you on. It was on my list to do anyway, but welcome into your first appearance, and it won't be the last, of The Rewind. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite. I just want to say before we even get started that it's amazing when sports connects us in so many facets, and that beautiful tribute that you did to for the young man Elijah. May his memory, his legacy be a blessing to so many. So I'm thinking of his family and thinking of you too, because of the impact that you have made in his life, for sure. So his spirit will carry on through the both of you all. So I just want to extend my prayers and my condolences out to his close friends, his family, for sure.
Yeah. Before we get into tonight's episode, I do want to give a quick shout out to another Eastside High School alum, Ishmael Sanogo. In this picture here is both Ish's parents, along with Coach Hawkins, Coach Anthony Tavares, and another Eastside High School alum, Mr. Dave McSwain. Super Dave, as they say. His teammate will be on later on in the month. I don't know which teammate that will be. You'll have to wait and see for that. But this past year in 2024, I believe October, November, don't quote me, Dave, as well as Ishmael Sanogo, was inducted into the Newark Hall of Fame, where Bryant is currently a Hall of Fame and inductee. And it was a great ceremony. Bryant was there. He wasn't pictured in this one because he was late due to other reasons I won't say publicly. But congratulations again to Ish. He was supposed to come on and say a few things about his Hall of Fame induction, but we want to give a special shout out to him and his family, as well as all of the Eastside High School family that have helped pave the way for these athletes, as you see with Dave, as well as Ish. Earned, not given. So congrats to Ish. Appreciate my man. Hope to see you on the Rewind soon. Getting into it, because business is about to pick up NCAA men's basketball. It is time, folks. Top 25 coming to you right here, as you can see on your screen. At number 1 in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. Number 2, Houston. 3, Auburn. 4, Florida Gators. 5, Alabama. Number 6, St. John Red Storms. 7, Michigan State. 8, Tennessee. 9, Texas Tech. 10, Clemson. 11, Kevin Willard and his Maryland team. Iowa State. 13, Louisville. 14, Texas A&M. 15, Kentucky. 16, Memphis. Shout out to Coach Penny Hardaway getting that program back to where they belong. 17, BYU. 18, Wisconsin. 19, St. Oh my God. Is that St. Mary's? Same on me. That is St. Mary's. I know I was right. 20, Purdue. 21, Missouri. 22, go Blue, Michigan, baby. We're moving up in the rankings. 23, Oregon. 24, Bryant's own Illinois. And 25, Marquette. Before we get any further, you see number 6, right? You 27-4 in a year. You see them, right? St. John's Red Storms. Give me this clip, Chris, because when I hear this clip, man, I want to run through a fucking brick wall tomorrow. Actually, today.
And be a basketball player. Dig in. Every time you miss a shot, your game deflates. We don't care about your missed shots. Play defense. You guys keep blowing opportunity upon opportunity upon opportunity. You're like children with bad things happening. Instead of digging in and be tougher, you wilt. Where is your toughness? Where have you guys been raised that you're so weak mentally that you just give up when something doesn't go right for you? Don't you know what adversity is all about? That's the game of life, not the game of basketball. You don't get down when things go wrong. You dig in and get tougher. Your whole life's gonna be adversity. Learn how to deal with it.
Woo! Boy, I tell you, that sounds like Bryant. I'll be honest. I've been in many locker rooms with Bryant. He know how to grind somebody's ass in the dog meat and light a fire under somebody. So it sounds familiar. But Bryant, St. John, 27-4, best team in the Big East. Yes, it's been a down year for Big East. UConn is not obviously UConn that we've seen the last 2 years. Villanova, Marquette, Creighton, Providence. I mean, I can go on, but Big East tournament coming around the corner starting tomorrow. In the last 10 games, St. John's is 9-1, 4th in the country in rebounds per game, 7th in the country in offensive rebounds, 9th in the country in blocks per game, 10th in the country in steals per game. Offensively, St. John's take care of the basketball, as you always say as a coach. Don't turn the fucking ball over. And defensively, this team has just been annihilating teams, just a physical dominant presence on both floors. But Bryant, man, talk to us about St. John's, man, because you kind of disagree with them being number 6 in the country. You disagree with them being number 1 in the Big East. You don't see them going far in the NCAA tournament, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Rick Pitino, everywhere he's gone, he has won. In year 2 of his St. John's tenure, he's got this team where nobody in America thought that they would be, and that's number 6 in the country, as well as winning 27 games and only losing 4. Bryant, your takeaway.
I love Rick Pitino. I love him to death. This climate that we're sitting in here right now with players moving all over the place in NIL, it brings a different dynamic. And by his record being what it is in a weak Big East, this year, weak Big East roster and the games that he had to play. Whoa! He had to play. Look at the teams that he lost to. 4 losses. 4 losses. 1 being Baylor. It doesn't matter. There's how many teams are ranked in the top 25 that's in the Big East?
1. Actually, I'm lying too. Marquette at 25.
Yeah. And Marquette just got there, and they beat Marquette. So how good is Marquette?
Well, with Shaka Spartan, 22-9. I do expect them to make the tournament.
Right. I love Shaka. Shaka is a good coach, but yet at the end of the day, the dynamic is different.
So let me get this straight, right? So St. John's was 6 games into the season. When you start off a season, you're trying to figure out your roster, right? He did steal Seton Hall's leading scorer and
everybody else.
Okay, and they lost to Baylor by 2 points.
Okay.
They play Baylor today. Who wins? St. John's.
You don't know.
St. John's.
Everybody's getting better around this time.
It's called how I see it. They lost to Baylor 1 point 6 games into the season.
Everyone is getting better in March. It's going to be some unknown team that's going to be in the final 8. We know this. They're going to be the ages between 23, 24, and 25 years old. They're going to be old as hell. They playing basketball in the college basketball for 6 or 7 goddamn years. So basically, they're playing pro basketball before they go to a legal pro game.
Well, we know how dangerous NIL can be is with returning players. Caleb Love being one of them, RJ Davis being another. I mean, I can go on in terms of list of players because they get so much money to come back. Like going to the professional level, they're not going to see the money that they're seeing now. Right. And
right.
It hurts the college game because now, as Rick Pitino said earlier a few weeks ago, that they're not even recruiting next year for high school players. They're looking in the portal. Right. Correct. Because you're going to get the 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old players that, you still have to put in the factor that they had that COVID year. So eligibility wise is pretty much a free year. But Big East tournament is tomorrow. How far do you see St. John's going in the Big East? Do they get to the final or do they win it all?
Guess what? I think they get to the final 4 of it, but I don't think they get to the finals because the Big East is that sporadic. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen Villanova won a national title and didn't get to the finals. Think about that. They won.
They lost in the Big East final in 2016, and they won the national championship.
Right.
And then they won in 17.
Right. So what makes you think different time. Cinderella year,
different
correct?
Time.
But yet teams peak later, and here we have the Big East. You don't know who's going to do what during that tournament because those teams are so off balance that every year everybody has new players now. You have a new team every year. So before you get that continuity started, it starts in February. You finally know what your team is doing. You finally know which segment, what sets they can run effectively. Now you're really rolling that over into March, into tournament time. So now they're starting to click. It's the same thing we did in high school.
So sit up here and say that St. John's is not going to be in the Big East final. Who the hell is beating them? Not Butler, not Seton Hall, not Marquette, not UConn, not Xavier.
Don't know.
Georgetown.
This is a year I can sit there and say, I don't know, but I know it won't be them.
So on the record, you're saying St. John's won't win the Big East tournament? I'm
on the record. I would say that they won't. If they do, I would take you out to dinner.
I tell you this, St. John's would be in the Elite 8 in the tournament.
They have a big bullseye. They get a bullseye on their chest. They are not going to get to the finals. I'm telling you this.
Wait, you know a thing or two about bullseyes. Didn't 2014 you have a bullseye on your back?
Yes, we did.
And what was the result?
We lost in the finals.
But you won a state championship, right?
Yes, we did. We lost in the finals.
Okay. I don't see no different here.
We're 30-2. We were 30-2. But guess what? Guess what? That's different from college, big boy. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. When we got to that elite game, the final game against St. Joe's, Metuchen, that whole team was an NBA basketball team. The whole team.
Let me educate you real quick, right? St. John's right now is the best team in the Big East, right?
No, without any question.
You want to know what their home record is this year where's the tournament going to be at? Madison Square Garden, where they play at?
Yeah.
18-0.
Okay.
18-0.
Okay.
Throughout the whole season.
Okay.
The Big East tournament is at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Who's beating
Okay. We will see. We will see. That's all.
Let me bring.
The Big East is so bad that I can't even give anybody else to sit there and say it's going to be Villanova. It's going to be freaking Seton Hall because Seton Hall is terrible this year.
2-18.
Right. So you don't know.
You have three teams. You have 3 teams in the Big East that are 22-9.
It could be UConn. Who knows?
Here's the thing.
Come
Ryan,
on, Marissa.
you made beautiful, brilliant points.
The hell
But there's
you
a
did.
reason why Rick Pitino is the fixer of bad teams. His track record starts at Boston, and it then moves up from there, from Providence to Louisville to Kentucky, where he did win the whole entire thing. A small little mini stint with the New York Knicks. That whole entire scandal that he had basically recovered from with Louisville, where they pretty much just got rid of their whole entire record, their championship. No, Michigan was not going to take a refurbished, tainted championship because Monty knows there was some doggone ridiculous calls that were ridiculous in that game itself, but we don't want to dig up the past anyway. Moved on to Iona, turned that team around, and we all knew that he wasn't going to stay at Iona because when an opportunity came along for him to get back into D1, it was going to happen. It happened to be St. John's. This man is Big East Coach of the Year for a reason. R.J. Lewis Jr. is a Big East Player of the Year for a reason. He's
100%.
taken this team from a 7-13 record in their conference and 18-15 overall and turned them into an actual juggernaut. This tournament, I'm so beyond excited to see because I agree with you on this point here, Bryant. The 68 tournament is wide open. There is no heavy favorite going into this tournament. We have seen the number one seed pretty much flip over and over like a rotisserie chicken. UConn, then Kansas, then Tennessee, Michigan State for a hot minute. Literally, these teams did not have Houston did not have any longevity for a while at number one. Everybody had a bad game. And
Correct.
This can happen at any time in the 68 tournament. Now, as far as St. John's, and I will end with this, I will give them credit because of the systems in place that Rick Pitino has done, the track record that he has with turning teams that are literally on the brink of collapse into contenders, taking pretenders into contenders. He has done that with St. John's. There's a reason why he was named Big East Coach of the Year. They're going to go further than the Big Eight. I have them already. I know we have not filled out brackets. I have St. John's in the Final Four.
That is a lot of balls that you don't have.
Look,
That is a lot of balls. There's no way in hell. It depends on how they're seated. I don't have them going to the Final Four at all. I maybe eight, just because they're going to give them the number one seed. But number one seeds are not safe. Not in this NIL era.
no.
Not in this. I'm telling
No seed is safe. No seed is safe. No
You
seed is
have to literally sit there and look at it, every single roster and see who has the oldest freaking roster out of
Auburn.
the 65. Auburn. Now,
Auburn.
if Auburn don't win it all, shame on them because they got the oldest team in the country.
That's correct.
They should beat everybody because they're old as hell. They have an NBA team playing against everybody else.
They should, but will they? You got these teams that could surprise them. You got Cooper
Right.
Flag,
They
Duke,
don't.
you got St.
They
John's.
don't.
You have Auburn that on paper looks like that they can run through this tournament and hoist
Yes.
the trophy up and cut the nets down as the confetti
Yes.
comes from the ceiling. Then you have Tennessee still. You have Florida has quietly made minimal noise. Why? Because we're focusing on the other teams that literally were all flipping up and down on number one. You have Kelvin
Right.
Sampson that hopefully can get back up there and cut the nets down for Houston.
They got a
And
good shot.
not have where he's that coach that almost could have made it or almost took the team. I mean, there's so many of these teams. That's why I'm looking forward to this tournament because there is no heavy favorite.
No,
Right.
you're going to have a team, and I'm going to bank on this one. You're going to have a team like a McNeese State be in the Final Four. What?
Fucking, you crazy.
You
crazy.
What?
You crazy.
What? What
You
is it?
crazy. You
Yo,
crazy.
this is how fucking bananas this is.
You
This
crazy.
is how, look, the hot team.
Cool.
Oh, wait, hold on. Would you would have called me crazy if
Don't
St.
say
Peter's?
that.
St. Peter's that year? St. Peter's that year.
I didn't call you crazy then.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. St. Peter's made it all the way to what?
Where do you go? The Elite Eight?
The Elite Eight? This is what I'm saying. So it's been rolling since then. Last year it was nuts.
Can be the new St. Peter's. You never know.
Oh shit, we might as well put South Dakota in the fucking Final Four then.
You don't know.
Let's put South Dakota in. let's put Winthrop in there. Let's put Akron in there. Let's put Drake in the Final Four. Like, let's just be for real.
All I'm going to say is when the brackets come out and we talk about this next week. Election Sunday. We'll talk about this next week before they start on Thursday. Then we can go from toe to toe and go over the Cedars of 64 to 66, 68 at that time.
St. John's, number 6 in the country, 27-4, 18-0 at home. Big East tournament starts tomorrow night, where they will play Butler on their home court. I expect St. John's to get to the Big East final. I expect St. John's to win the Big East tournament because clearly only team that can possibly give them a headache. Not trouble, a headache is UConn, Villanova, and that's all I see.
That's it. UConn and Villanova. That's it.
UConn and Villanova. Speaking of maybe Creighton, because you can never underestimate Coach McDermott's Creighton teams in March. That's a fact.
I was wondering whether you were going to say something about Creighton because didn't they lose to Creighton already?
Early in the season, yes, they did.
Yes, they did. It's just what I'm saying.
And didn't St. John's beat them again?
Right. That's who my Big East champion is Creighton.
Creighton?
Yes.
All right. Big East tournament starts off tomorrow. Speaking of UConn, 22-9 has been a up and down season for the Huskies. We know that Coach Hurley is the best coach in all of college basketball right now. He is on the quest for a three-peat, something that hasn't been done in the NCAA men's basketball history. I'm not sure if he's going to get there. Recently, he had a interview on 60 Minutes where he talked about his team, and here's what he's had to say.
Right now, that are fielding offers and considering playing for other teams next season?
50% of my roster or more.
50?
50% of my roster or more is at least, considering going in the portal. If not, already knows what school that they're going to.
Well, half your team is already thinking in terms of whether they want to transfer to another program or not.
Yeah, and in a couple of those cases, they've already talked to the coaching staff at future school and have an idea of what their NIL is going to be there.
The money.
Yeah.
What does it do to a culture of a college basketball team when half the guys are fielding offers for next season to go elsewhere?
Well, look at the volatility this year. The level of volatility in college sports, this has now become a year-to-year proposition. The game has changed completely.
How do we get here? How did we get here where we are in March, where it's the important time of the year? You're getting ready for, obviously, conference tournament play, and you're getting ready for NCAA March Madness play, the best time of the year. This is when your team really supposed to lock in and focus. But you have all these mixed distractions and different signs that's coming with players talking to other coaches and other programs on NIL money and the fit and playing time, this, that, and that. Bryant, was there ever a time in your coaching career where that was even a thing in terms of communicating with other schools, in terms of transfers?
Well, in high school, yeah, I was kind of used to the shit when coaches wind up trying to recruit your kids because you had this stellar basketball team, and then next thing you know that we had to sit here and recruit our own damn kids, especially when you put them with certain AAU teams, which we'll talk about in another segment later on down the road about AAUs and my personal opinions about them. But yet, yeah, we've been through this, and now they have to deal with this monetarily wise in college.
Right.
In my opinion about this scope of the thing is that, yeah, keep NIL, keep it. But yet, if a player decides to go to X school, then put them on a mandatory 3-year paid contract that they cannot leave for 2 or 3 years, whatever it may be. 1 year is not the deal. A mandatory minimum of 2, an extension of 3. That's it. Now you stop it and kind of go back to where it was, but yet they're getting paid while they're there and with guaranteed money. That's the only way you stop it. Also, with coaches as well. Coaches move around like crazy. Do the same thing with your assistant coaches. Do the same thing with your head coaches. Give them mandatory contracts unless you at lower level D1 or Division II, then make those rules a little bit different because everybody want to move up. But yet, give those guys the opportunity at lower tier schools that they want to get a big time job. Give them their 1 years. But the guys that are already at the top tier schools and they chasing money at the top, that's just ludicrous to me. It makes no sense. Do your 2 to 3 years, get some camaraderie with your players, get some unison, get some family type of atmosphere because that's gone too. And then at the end of the day, after those 2 or 3 years, if you want to take a different job and you want to move on, then you feel free to do so because your contract is over after 2 to 3 years.
This is my point of view, and I'll chime Marisa in this right after this. It's pretty embarrassing when you have the best program in college basketball, the best coach in all of college basketball, and Coach Hurley, back-to-back national champions, where you have to have so many distractions going on during the year. I've always said, and you can go back to Marisa's podcast where I've said this on her platform as well, where college players never get the opportunity to unpack their bags. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they're always going. You never you land a 5-star recruit, right? Kid's phenomenal. Did all the hard groundwork during his high school season to recruit him. Laid all the foundation down to seal the deal for him to come to your program. After year 1, you don't even know if he's coming back because he's already entertaining with other schools or flirting with other schools. And I feel like from a coach's standpoint, and no, I'm not a coach, but Bryant is, and he can attest to it. How can you build a program? How can you build a program that can be built to win championships if you have to worry about your top guys in terms of your recruits, in terms of your players going from school to school or thinking about leaving your school? How can you put a system in place? The days of staying 3 years, the days of staying 4 years are pretty much over in terms of college basketball because that's just a landscape. Now, there's players in the portal that leave every year. There's players in the portal out there for 3-4 years where they don't find a home, where they can't find a place where they can have their family come down because I may be in this school at one particular time. I may be at this school the next season. How I look at college basketball and especially the landscape of NIL, yes, it's necessary, but yet it needs to be controlled. There needs to be a president of NIL to have a landscape of a salary cap in place, to have all these schools where, again, we know the top donors and where they are. It's what have you done for me lately, right? And it takes away from schools, but at the end of the day, it's kill or be killed world. That's just what it is. That's just the landscape of the world we live in. And when you have schools like UConn, it's frustrating as a coach to know that, man, I did all this hard work to have this kid come in. Shit, he may be going to the other school. You know what I mean? When I look at St. John's, for example, and I look at Coach Pitino, he went in and took, Coach Sheen Holloway's starting guard, his star player, Kaderi, and brought him to St. John's. And he's playing better at St. John's than when he played at St. Paul.
Systems,
right? Systems matter. So, Marisa, what's your take on the landscape of the NIL as well as your comments on Coach Hurley's video that was played?
I think it's 100% of both of what you had said. I'll add this point. Who was the school that was notorious for the one and done? Kentucky. Kentucky, 100% under Calipari, where he did all the work. And he talked about that on a special that was aired many years ago about how he would go into the players' homes to convince the parents that they would turn not only their heavily recruited son into a star, but make sure that they stayed in the classroom and they were going to guarantee to get him a degree or whatever he was studying. Rarely saw that because literally Kentucky was known as the Calipari one and done. And that was before the NIL. And now this NIL has made the transfer portal hot. Where can I go to utilize my talents? Big example of the NIL and luring away is Hunter Dickinson when he played for Michigan. And the opportunity for him to go to not only a better complete program at the time, Kansas Jayhawks, but let's be 100% abundantly clear, ladies and gentlemen, the money was there. And it was not so heavily invested in the NIL for Michigan at that particular time. So I agree so much of what y'all are saying. We are not seeing these athletes stay at a program and be key contributors anymore. It's all about the dollar bills. It's all about the opportunity into going into programs where they're made promises that they're going to get paid certain amounts. And 90% of the time it is substantially true and they do get paid. But we see the dark side of it where you got, and I off the top of my head, I can't think of the school at the moment in time, where you had this player that was promised so much money and is now suing the school because they didn't fulfill their end of the bargain. And so it's Coach Hurley is so doggone talented and passionate of what he has done for UConn. Tough road for him to this tournament that's coming up for his team. But that's really sad that he overhears or finds out that the teams, the players that he went in and personally recruited and visited with their parents and, talked to them about, your son is going to be excellent not only on the court, but make sure that he's going to be excellent in the classroom and get those grades up and talk about where their next opportunity is going to be. It's like the roller coaster of auditions, if you will. Who's got it better for me? Who's got the better contract? Who's got, where my name can be up on the marquee more so there where it was in the previous. It's sad in a way. And I love the idea that you came up with, Bryant, about the student has to stay at that school for at least 2 to 3 years.
If he's receiving the bag.
Yes. And because otherwise, literally, gentlemen, everything's being sponsored by the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the love of the game is being lost in the portal because of the ultimate prize, which is the bag.
Right. And I got one more to even add on to it. The ones that are not receiving a bag, they can leave after 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not being funded. So give them the opportunity to leave and go somewhere else where they go get funded. But if they do, they got to stay there for 2 to 3. That's the only way this is going to work. It's just what it is. So and it's fair to me. That system right there is pretty much the fairest thing that I can possibly come up to make this right.
And if schools just take a carbon copy out of UConn the last 2 years, their last 2 championship teams, the first year they won, they brought back 75 to 80% of their roster from that year into next year to run it back. That's a formula. That's a DNA for success. Like the NBA isn't going nowhere. Let's just call it for what it is. Right now, if you're not a Cooper flag, if you're not a lottery pick, there's no high hopes for you to play in the NBA right away. That's just the name of the game. So it forces players to come back because, yes, I'm going to get paid 6-7 figures. I'm going to be able to play on a national level. I'm going to be playing on ESPN and Fox Sports. And yet I'm going to have the opportunity to not also play in the NCAA tournament, but possibly win, right? Like Caleb Love, for example, phenomenal career at UNC. What was the person that pretty much sent Mike Krzyzewski and the Duke Blue Devils into retirement that year with his big 3 in the Final Four to go to the big game, which North Carolina wound up losing, right? Then he goes to Arizona. How many years he played in college basketball? 5, 6? Where have we got? Like, I look at the player Dejon Harris from Kansas. Perfect example. He's been playing for Kansas since 2019. What year are we in? 2025. How did we get here?
But to add more salt to the wound, and I feel like my career was cut short because I finished playing football at freaking 2021. You got guys, they're coming into college football and into college basketball at the year that I left at 20. Like, seriously? Mm-hmm. So you're spending 4 and 5 years. You're leaving there. If you stay all 4 years, you're leaving there at 24, 25 years old. If you stay that amount of time, most of those type of guys, they wind up playing a year or 2 and they leave anyway and get drafted, or if they wind up going overseas or whatever it may be. But it's a mess that they have to tighten it. And I personally don't think that the NCAA should make any sanctions because those particular fools need to be thrown out along with a whole bunch of other political crap that's going on in this world. The NCAA is a joke. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Throw them away. Let the college coaches make up the rules because guess what? They're the ones that see everything. They are in the trenches.
Yeah.
So the college head coaches, all of them should come up with a policy for all the players and an agreement, and then move it away with the presidents of the universities and move the NCAA out of it, tell them to go retire and go do something with themselves.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Before we move on, the NCAA, both men's and women's, both men's basketball, women's basketball, well, I'll take them out of it because they're not really as big. No disrespect to them. Men's basketball and football, they should have a commissioner for both sports.
I agree.
Because since we don't have one, we've lost Mike Krzyzewski, Jay Wright, Tony Bennett, Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, the greats, the all-time greats, where we thought like, man, this guy's going to coach at least 100, right? And this is what this NIL has done. And I feel like this is the NCAA saying, you know what? You guys want us to pay players so bad? Okay, there you go. We'll pay players, but yet there's no control. It's a wild west. Whereas though we can give a player $10 million and a few inclusive perks to come play for our university, when that's not a guarantee that he'll be back in year 2. That's not a guarantee he'll be back in year 3. That's just to say, well, you know what? We got this 5-star recruit out of whatever state, out of whatever school. We give him this amount of money. That's not guaranteed a championship. So are we playing for recognition in the sport, or are we trying to compete and play for national championships? Because there's two different levels. Could give a damn about how much you played. Can you come into my program and make an immediate impact and get us to a level where we're trying to get to? And what does that look like? Can you inspire? Can you lead these players in the locker room? Regardless if it's 8 players that are 5 stars, 9 players, shit, the whole roster don't matter. Can you come in? Can we all get together in this one locker room, in this one film room, on this one practice court? Can we get better each week? Can we improve to put banners on the ceiling that'll last forever and go win national champions? Because last time I checked, no one's going to remember how much you got paid in NIL. No one's going to remember where you were a 5-star or 4-star in high school. That doesn't matter. It matters as far as your legacy and what you do for these programs. But these days, legacies don't matter. It's all on what have you done for me lately. And it pisses me off that the NCAA just continuously allows this fuckery to happen each and every year. It's a joke. 100%. Moving on. NCAA women's basketball. Man, last time we had an episode a few weeks ago where Notre Dame was number 2 in the country. Now they're down to number 6, and South Carolina was number 6, and now they're number 2. Right where they belong. It's just been that kind of year. Right?
I told you that already.
USC, UCLA.
I told you that would happen.
UCLA is number 1 in the country now. God damn, how did we get here? It's going to be an exciting time. NCAA women's tournament conference play is already underway, as well as getting ready for NCAA women's tournament, which we'll break down on next week's episode. But Marisa, for you, what's been some exciting teams that you've had the pleasure to enjoy watching this year?
These 2 teams that you have right here, this is a welcome to the Big Ten for both of these teams. This is an exciting time in women's basketball. I had an individual that posted on social media. He made a comment about missing Caitlin Clark, and if the commentators, when they were calling these games, miss Caitlin Clark. And mind you, yes, Caitlin Clark did a lot for women's basketball because 1, the recognition, 2, the game that she played, 3, a lot of coverage was about her and the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes. 4, it sparked interest in people who were not paying attention to women's basketball. And 5, the highest amount of people that watched the WNBA draft ever. And the WNBA has been in existence for 27 years. And that was the first time in a long time. So now you have one person that literally launched the interest of so many people that were not tuned in fully into women's basketball. And I said to him, I was like, if you think that people are missing Caitlin Clark, then obviously you have not watched enough women's hoop, because there is a lot of great teams out there that have a lot of great players, starting with UCLA. You have Lauren Betts, who has scored her 1,000th point in this Big Ten championship finals versus USC. Okay. You have on the other side, you have Juju Watkins, you have Kiki Eifrin on this squad. We have mentioned South Carolina. I mean, you have a juggernaut, legendary coach in Dawn Staley, who has literally, when you lose big key pieces in South Carolina, but you forget you have Chloe Kitts, you have Malaysia Wiley that is on that team, Tahina Popo that is on that team. There is so many of these teams, and this also is wide open. And then you got, don't forget about us, UConn, legendary Gino Ariyama and Paige Beckers, who was back from that god-awful injury that kept her out for a season, playing out of her mind right now. And this is an exciting time right now. If you think last year was an exciting time to watch women's hoop, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that you fill out a bracket for women's hoop. Texas, Tennessee, Duke, Kara Lawson, Coach Kara Lawson. Shout out to Duke,
Coach Lawson.
The Lady Blue Devils.
Yes.
She had laid out a plan, 5 seasons. She's been in with the program 5 seasons. She's like, listen, ladies, trust this entire process. This is going to be a build. This is going to be a climb. This is not going to be an overnight where we are going to be that juggernaut of a team. And finally, after, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Monty, it's been since 2012 that they won the ACC title.
Yep. Kara Lawson is also, sorry to cut you off, the third black women's head coach to win an ACC title, right behind the year before with Coach Ivey in Notre Dame. But go ahead.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well. So this is historic, especially in Women's History Month, what these ladies are doing as players as well as coaches. We have to give the recognition where recognition is due. So ladies and gentlemen, again, I challenge you, not just for the men, but I know on this show you all do that, and I appreciate that so much. Please, please, please participate in filling out a women's 6A tournament bracket.
We will. We will.
Yes, we will. And I even took it a step further on Monty's page today. I saw this little young lady. I can't remember her name.
Oh, yeah.
She was phenomenal. I was like, I haven't seen that type of defense and offense played in almost 20 years. Women's sports, women's basketball has taken flight. Without any doubt, the draft has been going around since 27 years. Mm-hmm. My daughter is 20. She will be 26. And that back then, when it first started, I tried to get my own daughter interested in basketball, but it didn't work. But that's okay. She liked watching the game, and it's leaps bounds ahead of what it used to be, and today it has me excited. If I will watch a women's college basketball game before I watch a man's NBA basketball game. The NBA is absolutely terrible. Women's college basketball, especially around March, phenomenal.
And the ratings were, for the first time last year, higher than the men's tournament. Obviously, the men's tournament was predictable of who was going to win that one. The women's one, you had 4 juggernaut teams and 4 legendary coaches that were in there. And it's basically the plot twist, and it was taking us right into the finals and the exciting whole entire tournament that it was. So that's why I'm looking forward to this one. And let's not forget about Hannah Hidalgo of Notre Dame and what she has done.
Hold on.
Program.
I just want to touch on Brian's comment. Monique Phoenix, class of 2026, 5'4" point guard, 3.84 GPA, plays in Texas. Just wanted to highlight that young woman on this platform because, god damn, can she play defense? Sorry.
Play, man.
Texas, I mean, the way that South Carolina handled them in that final, let's not get it twisted. Coach Vic Schaefer is going to get them ready for the tournament.
Well,
he's going to get them ready.
I'll be honest. I thought Texas was going to come out and be a little bit more competitive than what they were.
I thought so too, and I thought it was going to be closer than what the score showed.
Yeah,
I thought Taylor Jones was literally carried that team on her back. Madison Booker, they shut her down in the early, about the mid-third, and with pockets of her shooting, but literally they shut her down in the second half of that game. He'll get that team ready. I know he will.
Well, South Carolina is number 2 in the country for a reason, because this is the time where they normally flip that switch, that switch that says NCAA tournament.
The top 10.
The tournament.
Now you South Carolina. You had Notre Dame.
Give recognition. And I still got Notre Dame. And I still got Notre Dame. I still got Notre Dame in the Final Four.
Okay.
Look,
Okay.
just
I mean,
because
technically, the number one ranking for the first time in 21 years. This is an exciting time to watch college football.
It's an exciting time of the year. It's an exciting time of the year. But let's get the record straight. Notre Dame will be in the Final Four just because they lost in the ACC tournament. Shout out to Duke and winning, because to be the best team, you got to beat the best team, and the best team, in my opinion, in the ACC this year was Notre Dame. But let's not get this thing all twisted, right? Coach Ivy has 2 of the 5 best players in the country, right? Mrs. Miles and Mrs. Hannah Adobo, okay? And look, let's face it, the tournament is survive and advance. Best time of the year. Will South Carolina be in the Final Four? I expect them to be. Do I expect UConn to be in the Final Four? Absolutely. Do I expect UCLA to be in the Final Four? Absolutely not. Do I expect USC to be in the Final Four? Maybe. Elite 8 for sure. But this is where things get dicey, right? Because we're not going to just judge teams off of what they've done in conference tournament play. Like, South Carolina is the SEC champions. We expect them to be SEC champions. Yeah. Despite, obviously the year that Texas has had, despite what the year LSU has had. Yes, LSU is that the LSU of last year, but yet they're 28-5. They're top 10 in the country. They'll make some noise in the tournament as well. Let's not just forget that. You know what I mean? So, Bryant, to sit here and say that, I'm just giving recognition, brother. I'm all about being a man of my word, right? You've taught me that. A few weeks ago, I didn't badmouth South Carolina. I didn't say they weren't going to make it to the tournament. I didn't say they weren't going to win the SEC championship. I didn't say any of that. All I said was where they were at the time, which was 6th in the country, that wasn't going to be the end game for Coach Staley and this South Carolina team. Fast forward a few weeks later, they're number 2 team in the country. They just won the SEC championship, and they're getting ready to go on another Final Four run, if not win another Final Four. But Coach Ivy and Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, got something to do against that, and we shall see next week. We shall see. We shall see. NFL free agency. Well, I'll be damned. Never thought I'd see the day. Chicago Bears are making moves, folks. They signed 3 offensive linemen so far this season in free agency. They're trying to put some protection around Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson, first-year head coach coming in. He knows what's going to take to have his offense ready to go. You bring back DeAndre Swift. You have DJ Moore. I mean, we shall see. But Bryant's guy, former quarterback, who I thought if you would have given him the pieces to build around, he would be successful at quarterback. And that's Justin Fields. Just signed this few days ago to the New York Jets on a 2-year, $40 million deal, $30 million guarantee. Coming to reunite with his player, his guy, Mr. Wilson, the player that Aaron Rodgers just couldn't get the ball to, but they're reunited. We know what damage they did to our Michigan Wolverines while Fields is in red at Ohio State. But Bryant, with this here, man, what's your thoughts on Coach Glenn and going to get his quarterback with Aaron Rodgers leaving? Where do you see the Jets with Justin Fields, and where do you rank them in the AFC East?
Overall 9 games. That's max. That's it. He's going to come in there and make a little bit of a difference. New coach, new era, new stuff, new offense. Again, this is to be a third offense. He got to learn. He's not going to come in there and ring bells. He was 4-2 before he got the axe over with the Steelers.
He wasn't even given the green light.
I know. He was basically out of his 6 starts. He was 4-2.
I put it like this: if Justin Fields plays the last 5 games, the Steelers don't lose 5 in a row.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. Russell's not horrible. You know what I mean?
Wasn't great either.
He wasn't great either. He wasn't good. I'm with you on that. I would have played him the whole season. I think it was a big mistake, taking him out. But it's going to help Fields that he has someone that he knows they can throw the ball to. That's going to help him elevate a little bit. That's going to get him that 9th win. I see them as 9-8, but maybe that's as best as they can do.
I'm a Patriots fan. I don't see them 9-8.
Yeah, what do you see them going? Because they damn sure going to beat the Patriots. Patriots have been
you crazy.
Been ass. They've been ass.
You crazy.
Ever since Brady left.
Well, first off, let me just reel you back in because Patriot disrespect will not be tolerated on the rewind at all. Okay, you brought in Mike Vrabel, and we have a solid staff. And so far in free agency, we got off to a pretty good start. Signing, Robert Sperry, Carlton Davis III from Detroit. You put him with Christian Gonzalez. You arguably have, sorry, Marissa, I know that's your guy. You arguably have the best DB duo in the league. You bring an offensive tackle, Morgan Moses, 34 years old, an offensive veteran who will protect Drake May coming into year 2 in the Josh McDaniels year 1 reunited era as offensive coordinator. And then you bring in Milton Williams on the defensive side, who was Philly's best pass rusher. So Coach Vrabel was getting off to a pretty good start in this offseason and free agency. Now, it's not over. We do have the most money so far this year and salary cap to play with. We have to be strategically smart. But when I look at the Jets, they're not done yet, right? They do have some holes to fill. You lost an offensive tackle. We know that offensive line has been a struggle for the New York Jets the last 2 years. Just flashback 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers didn't even get to see the whole game with tearing his Achilles. That's the offensive lineman's fault. So for me, Marissa, for this New York Jets team, right, with adding the addition of Justin Fields, is this a make or break year for Justin Fields in his career?
This is going to go back to what we expected Justin Fields to be when he came out of Ohio State. That should have had the development as a very good, can scramble in the pocket, can throw QB. And the development he did not get with the Chicago Bears. Unfortunately, we didn't see all of that. He sat behind Russell Wilson, played those few games against the Steelers. Now this is going to be his redemptive time. So it is a part of make or break because of the fact now he's got something to prove. This is what people that when they saw him come out of Ohio State, highly drafted, what we should have saw in Chicago is what we're going to see in the Jets. Yes, there's going to be some struggles. Possibly going to be some kind of. I think they're going to win more than 9 games. I'm going to give them 11 games.
Hell no!
There's no way in hell. Not a shot in hell. Not even.
I was shamed by him. Hell no.
Because again, this is, as you stated beautifully, Monty. This is now his. I don't want to say second chance at being a starting QB, but kind of the way it is because of the fact those 3 wasted seasons under a coach that did not do any development. Matt Eberflus should never, ever, ever in the history of NFL kingdom should ever be a head coach anywhere ever again. He's not a developer at all. And that's what did not happen when Justin Fields was with the Chicago Bears.
His name is not Everfoot. It's Ever Bust.
Yes. USC. Hang on, 14 times because he exactly did that with the team. He was there holding a clipboard, looking in shock when plays were not happening. He literally, Chicago Bears, and I'll make this last point, was under his tutelage, the island of misfit quarterbacks. You had Trubisky, you had Fields, and you doggone sure have a great QB that came out of USC by the name of Caleb Williams, who is with a phenomenal coach in Ben Johnson right now. And I hope my Lions tear them apart. But that's neither here or there. But those wasted 3 seasons that Justin Fields had, it's going to be his time where he's going to have to prove to Jets fans that he is that QB1, that he's going to be that guy for that organization.
Well, first and foremost, there's not a chance in hell the Jets are winning 11 games this year. I'm just going to call it how I see it. Outside of throwing a ball to Garrett Wilson, Adam Lazard, who knows? Bryce Hall in the running game, who knows?
You never know who they're going to pick up in the draft.
You're right. We don't. You're right. But it would take a whole lot more than signing Justin Fields for the Jets to win 11 games this upcoming season. The Jets haven't won 11 games since Mark Sanchez, and damn it, I don't think they'll win 11 games for the next 2 years or 3 years. Let's just face it. It's been a disaster with Aaron Rodgers. They put all that hype, all that smoke. You went and go and got his guy in Devontae Adams. Bring him to New York. He plays like shit. He had his best game in Week 12 for me in fantasy. Outside of that, the Jets and Woody Johnson Johnson, this organization has been a mess. It's been in shambles. It's been a disaster. So, yeah, does it start with Justin Fields and Coach Johnson? Yes, Coach Johnson coming in. Yes. Will it take more than 1 year to get this thing right? Yes. How much will they give Coach Johnson for of the rope? Because we know with black coaches in the NFL, that rope is only so short before you hang yourself and your ass is grass. If they give him the green light to come in and put his own DNA, his own stamp on this Jets organization from the ownership to the front office to the locker room, things can happen. Now, in the AFC East is difficult because you got the Patriots that's coming next year. I expect this with Drake May to be a little bit better. The Bills are the Bills. They just gave Josh Allen $230 million. That won't even matter because that won't even matter. And then you got the Miami Dolphins with Tua and Tyreek Hill bitching and moaning that he wants to leave because he ain't winning games. Well, you should have left Kansas City, but you wanted to be a wise ass and go to Miami. Now you got to deal with what you got. So at the end of the day, it goes like this. I expect Justin Fields to have a great season. This is a make or break for him, in my opinion, because he's had a bad taste in his mouth from Pittsburgh. My opinion, I thought he should have been a guy in Pittsburgh. He should have started, but you had Russell Wilson, the office politics to play a part in that. As I said before, you put Justin Fields in those last 5 games of the season. Steelers don't lose 5 in a row, and I take my chances with Justin Fields at starting quarterback in the playoffs against Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens. But it is what it is. Here, this is what it comes down to. But Marisa, 11 games.
Here's the thing, though. Again, with the midfield team, and the reason why I say a strong 11.
Why do you say 11? Why
I say 11 for this reason here. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Fields knows how to play football. He knows how to QB.
We know that.
This is going to be, but the bond that he's going to have, because he respects the heck out of Aaron Glenn. Respects the heck out of Aaron Glenn. That right there. And he's going to get the guidance that he should have had at the beginning of his career from Aaron Glenn and the coaching staff that is there. He's going to get that toolage that's going to turn him into a contender QB. And the fact that they got rid officially of Aaron Rodgers, the diva behavior, the diva mentality. Now the Jets can now actually form a team together. The 3 teams that you mentioned that are in that conference are going to be going neck and neck. The Miami Dolphins are going to be an afterthought. I mean, this is no offense to them, but you mentioned Tyreek. They had lost some key pieces. I don't see Miami whatsoever being a key, any kind of contender whatsoever with them coming up. They're not.
I don't expect them either.
They're not.
We can't.
But the Patriots are going to surprise a lot of people.
You damn right we are.
I said what I said. Mike Vrabel is the right guy. I mean, I'm not a Patriots fan.
We know,
but I really dig Mike Vrabel, and when the Patriots got him, that is a home run.
Josh McDaniels.
I feel bad for Gerard Mayo because he was set up for failure.
I do too.
But that's here nor there. But now this is a new chapter.
Hey, look,
Mike Vrabel, he's going to dial in. The Patriots is going to do something spectacular this season coming up.
Hey, as Donnell Jones once said, life goes on, but I've come to realize that life goes on. Gerard Mayo, we're sorry, but Mike Vrabel, we got our guy. Josh McDaniels, the only job he can get is office coordinator, and that's what the Patriots. We shall see. DK Metcalf, he is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. His tenure with the Seattle Seahawks has come to an end. We don't know who his quarterback will be yet. We shall see. Rumors out there say that Aaron Rodgers may be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We do know if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign, Russell Wilson will more likely be their guy. Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf do have some chemistry and tenure together when Russell was a quarterback in Seattle during early years of DK Metcalf. Bryant, with the addition of DK Metcalf to the Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, we don't know who his quarterback is, but does this make the Pittsburgh Steelers that much better? Yes, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. We know the greatness of Mike Tomlin. Where do you think of this addition of DK Metcalf to the Steelers?
The same. I don't think without them getting a quarterback, I don't think they're going to be that much more of a productive team. He have a winning season. But, Russell Wilson is just not that guy.
So what grade do you give the Steelers for this hire, for the signing? I'm sorry.
With the signing, I give them maybe like a B-. Okay. That's about it.
Right.
I don't see them, being a challenger or anything like that. They have some pieces to fix. Defensively, they're solid. Offensively, they're going to struggle without their quarterback. That type of system that they have basically fit a great quarterback that can basically come in there and dictate the pace of the game and make all checkdowns throughout the course of the season. So and you have quarterbacks there now. Russell Wilson can do it, but yet, he's old and he's up in age and he's injured half the damn time. But yet, he's not that guy right now. So at the end of the day,
who do you bring in?
I don't know. It may wind up being a rookie.
No. Steelers are in win now mode. They're in win now mode.
They are, but they're up in age. But you can get a rookie quarterback that come in there and do the same thing as Russell Wilson.
Hypothetically, let's play the game of hypothetical.
Okay.
If you have to choose between Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback with the addition of DK Metcalf, who do you choose?
I'm choosing Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers is a cancer. He won.
But that's not going down in Tomlin's household.
Without any question. Tomlin is that guy to put him on. But yet, Tomlin's not on that field. You get what I'm saying? And if there's a problem, he's gonna sit Aaron Rodgers. Why would you want to have to go through that again?
No, you won't sign. I don't think you'll sign 2-star quarterbacks or former star quarterbacks. I also think Arthur Smith sucks as an offensive coordinator, if I'm just going to call it how I see it, because it's not Mike Tomlin calling plays offensively. We know that. And we know that, with the addition of DK Metcalf, I don't trust Pickens for a bit of a dollar, because locker room, he's an issue. On the field, he doesn't block. Mentally, he can't get his brain right. We've seen that this past year. But Marisa, in your opinion, you're a NFL guru. You call it how you see it. What direction do the Steelers go in terms of the quarterback play with recently signed DK Metcalf?
Well, here's the thing. I'll say this real quick about Metcalf. If Metcalf wants to be a really great contributor for this team, he needs to be a mentor to George Pickens.
Correct.
And all of the stuff that you all have said, DK Metcalf was somewhat of a slight little diva when he was with the Seahawks. Give me the ball. Why didn't you throw the ball to me? I could have made a play. That kind of little behaviors that he had. Well, they go, and he's been in the league a little bit longer than George Pickens. They can learn from each other if they want to take the Steelers from, yes, we had a regular great season, but we still can't win in the postseason, which still hangs over Mike Tomlin's head when they get there. And this is pretty much a make or break for Coach Tomlin as well. Because as many times as he's had a 500 season upward, and, has done somewhat decent with the Steelers organization, your one Super Bowl ring that you won is the one Super Bowl ring you won. You know what I'm saying? You've had tons of talent that is on that team. You've had a TJ Watt. You had a Cameron Haywood. You had up-and-coming Joey Porter Jr. You got all of these pieces that are in play. The problem is the QB. Yes, in addition to Darius Slay. So the problem is going to be the QB. In my humblest opinion, you need somebody that is ready to lead this team now. Not develop them, but lead them now. Because why? Again, the points that I made, the coach that is already going into the NFL draft, the spring training, the preseason, and the regular season already with a little heat, and that's Tomlin. Okay? So
yeah. I mean,
Russell Wilson had an opportunity to prove that he was that guy. I'm going to go on the limb. Russell Wilson needs to make way to his to the wonderful city of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He needs to sign with the Cleveland Browns and insert.
Why would you do that? You gave Deshaun Watson all that money.
Listen, come on.
Giants, maybe.
Listen,
I mean, there's not that many destinations for Russell Wilson to go.
Russell Wilson has a Super Bowl ring. Deshaun Watson does not. You really don't want the tail end of your career to go to where.
So again, why
the Giants right now are this? They what moves have they made?
They need to go draft Cam Ward. That's the only priority.
That's the only for who? For the Giants or for the Browns?
For the Giants, draft Cam Ward. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I gave Deshaun Watson all this money, over $200 million guarantee. He hasn't done anything for us lately, right? We had Joe Flacco, for crying out loud,
And
come
then
in and
it was
carry
a
us.
source that said that he re-injured his Deshaun Watson had re-injured himself during rehab.
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did.
we don't even know, gentlemen, if he's even going to start.
We don't know. But shit, what I do know is this. The Steelers are 1-4 in the last 5 games of this past season. They lost 5 straight games, including the playoffs. What do you do at quarterback? Do you bring back Russell Wilson and you partner him with DK Metcalf, or do you go in a different direction? Because Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, I think he should just go to a different team, just like we've seen from other coaches like Bill Belichick, who's now in North Carolina, just like we've seen Pete Carroll, who's now with the Las Vegas Raiders. Give him another team to inject his lethal poison into the organization and let good things happen. Because let's just face it, the time of coaches, coaching at organizations for 20 years, those days are over. Coaching at 15 years at organization, those days are over. Yeah, I mean, it's quick stints in and out and you're out the door.
Him and then you got Andy Reid that's been with the Chiefs for how long? I mean, that's a rarity that we're seeing that.
Right,
I agree with you.
right. And it's just time for him to leave. I mean, he's maximized his potential at Pittsburgh. He's got everything he's got. He's had great teams with Dick LeBeau as defensive coordinator. He's won games. He's won a Super Bowl with Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's had all-time greats in Antonio Holmes and Hines Ward and Heath Miller and Rashard Mendenhall. I mean, he's had his time. And then on defense with Troy Polamalu and Ryan Gay and Ryan Clark. I mean, he's had it. He's had the run. It's time to just go in a different direction and take your talents to a different team.
What's surprising me is that change has not happened yet. And we are already almost close to, we already had the combine happen. We got pro days coming up. And then just like that, gentlemen, we're going to have the draft.
It'll be his last year. I think he's gone after this year. Regardless of what the Steelers do, it'll be gone after this year. But
I don't think anybody, in my humblest opinion, should go and get Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers needs to sit down and wait 5 years.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, right, I've had a messed up year. Let's call it how I see it. I've been scrutinized by the media. I've made all these power moves to go and get my best friend Devontae Adams, what hasn't worked out. Devontae Adams is now a Los Angeles Ram. But if I'm him and you want to go win now, Sam Darnold just signed.
Don't you dare say it. Don't you say it.
Sam Darnold just signed to the Seattle Seahawks. J.J. McCarthy's coming in year 2, but in reality it's year 1 because he had a season in the injury before the season even started.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
Pair him with Justin Jefferson, damn it. Pair him with Justin Jefferson, damn it.
God dang it.
Damn it. I mean, let's just face it. That's the best place for him to go. Sell a home in New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
Get rid of that with all them high-ass New Jersey taxes.
I cannot.
Go to Minnesota.
The beautiful last play clip that I have in my head is the Honolulu blue and white giving him his last loss in a Packers uniform.
Let's call it for how we see it.
Not.
Right? Aaron Rodgers. Hang on, Brian. Let me finish. Aaron Rodgers has been following in Brett Favre's footsteps, if we really look at it. From Green Bay, right? Where did Brett Favre go? Minnesota. Where did he end up after Minnesota? New York, right? Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay. He's with the Jets. There's only one team he's missing to follow Brett Favre's path, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. So if it's Minnesota Vikings, yes, I have all confidence in J.J. McCarthy. He is the future quarterback of this league.
J.J. McCarthy's season. Let's do it.
Aaron Rodgers, Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson. Woo!
Jesus,
don't
do it.
As my ace says, Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed.
Ain't no weed, brother.
Stay off the weed.
Speaking of Stephen A. Smith, we are introducing our new segment to the Rewind, brought to you every week by Global Sports Entertainment 3, and that is Bryant's Hot Take. Each and every week of the Rewind, Bryant will be giving his personal hot take. Picture right here. This is the face of the hot take. Bryant, this week's hot take is no other than Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Chris, take it away.
That was LeBron James coming up to me. Unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. That's what he was doing. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. And I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard. Now let me tell you what I feel. I never would speak negatively about your son. I was talking about you, meaning you, LeBron James. I have nothing but the best wishes for Bronny James. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that he flourishes into an NBA star. Usually in other sports, we see all-stars, and on occasion, we'll see their children become stars as well. That doesn't really happen with the NBA. I sincerely hope he's the exception. By all accounts, he's a wonderful kid. And I don't know anybody who roots against him, and it certainly isn't me. But in the same breath, at the time that we were talking about him, he was percolating to such a degree that the Bronny James stories had gone viral. And so we had to talk about it. And when I said the things that I said, I was talking about the position that he was put in by his dad. Because LeBron James has been on the record, and he has said, and I'll read the quote here. There was a quote that he gave in February of 2024. The work and results will ultimately do talking, no matter what the size. If y'all don't know, he doesn't care what mock drafts say. He just works, earned, not given, et cetera, et cetera. But he also had said that his son could play on the Lakers right now, and he was better than half the dudes in the NBA. In the aftermath of all of that, he instructed everybody before the draft that y'all want me, draft Bronny. Wherever Bronny is at, that's where I'll be. I'll do whatever it takes to play with my son for a year. It's not about the money at that point. My point months ago was that because of who you are, one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball, in my estimation, there's an immense amount of pressure that comes with that for his son. And when he talked like that, and what have you, anything that goes awry as it pertains to his son, there's going to be a microscopic eye, even more intensified, on Bronny James because of his dad and what his dad had said.
Earned, not given. Bryant, your hot take.
All right. I've been talking about this for 6, 7, 8 months about Bronny. Look, you can sit here and blame LeBron for him talking about his son. I'm going to take it a little bit deeper. This is the NBA's fault. You want to know why? Because they have down-coded this damn league so bad that they're looking for the next star. And LeBron is trying to give his son to be the next face of the league, and he's not good enough. So, yeah, he's trying to protect his son and protect his image. That's all that is. He wants his son to be the face of his league so damn bad that he's salivating him. And so, yeah, it's about LeBron himself. It's his fault. He should never do that. Let the kid naturally do it. Now, do I think that Bronny is that type of player? Absolutely not. He's averaging 30 points a game, 20 points a game in the G League, but yet you come in there and have a donut in the NBA? What's going on in the G League? Is it just open sesame? You can just sit there and score at will, make layups at any given point so you can have a hopes of being in the NBA? The basketball at the highest level is absolutely terrible. It's showmanship. Nobody plays hard until 72 games are done. And then now you see the difference of play on both sides of the game because nobody wants to get eliminated. Terrible basketball. Fix the game. Fix everything so we can get back to some damn normalcy. But at the end of the day, what we see right now, LeBron, yes, it's your fault. Fix it. And that's my hot take.
I'll chime in for this briefly because I don't want to talk about it no further. That was a great take, by the way. Job well done, Bryant. Job well done. I'll say this. There could have been 100 different ways you could have done this in terms of approaching Stephen A. courtside at the Lakers game a few nights ago and talking about this. Last time I checked, you are a grown adult. You are an ambassador to the game. What would be so difficult or different to have a conversation with the man privately in regard to what he said? I don't think Stephen A. said anything wrong on his platform on First Take in regards to Bronny. If that's the case, LeBron, hold that same standard, or as I should say, keep that same energy with any other media analysts that's talking sports that have criticized Bronny James and his gameplay. Now, let's call for how I see it. If you remember, Bronny James had a good game in the G League. Coach J.J. Redick brought him up when the Lakers were on the road against Philly in Philly, brought Bronny into the game, thought he was going to be the spark that the Lakers needed. It turned out to be a complete disaster. J.J. Redick goes onto his press conference and says, basically, it's on me. I shouldn't have put Bronny into that. I thought he was going to do this. I thought he was going to do that. We thought what did happen was going to happen. LeBron saying that Bronny could play right now in the NBA and he's better than half the players in the league. Tyrese Maxey busts his ass. Let's just call it for what it was. And it's not like it's anything towards him. This is what comes with the territory. Your father has put a target on your back. He's used his political power and his assets to put you in a position to be on the Los Angeles Lakers, receiving a very nice rookie contract that a lot of players in college as well as the G League are grinding their ass off trying to get to that spot, trying to earn an NBA roster. You are blessed. It's not because of your talent. It's because the politics behind this put you in that seat. And I'm not mad at LeBron because any father in that position would do anything more than that move right there, what he did for their son or daughter. That's how I just see it. It happens in corporate America. It happens for the Dallas Cowboys, where half their front office is run by the Jones family. It happens all over the face of the earth. I'm not mad at that. What I'm mad at is this. You took an opportunity to approach another man courtside, said what you had to say, keep your son's name out of your mouth, right? And then you go and talk to Richard Jefferson pregame of the Lakers and Celtics on Saturday night. And then you said that it had nothing to do with Bronny. It was just the principle of LeBron saying from a father's perspective. So which one is it going to be? Because it's a double standard, if you ask me. You can't have it both ways. And at the end of the day, I stand with Stephen A. on this. I thought he handled it pretty well. He did a great job going on Gilbert Arenas' show the other day and talking on this matter. And I would be tired of the bullshit too, because at the end of the day, as professionals, Kobe didn't come at Stephen A. on a public scenery or courtside or on a game. He texted him and said, yo, my man, we need to have this conversation. And Stephen A. flew out to Los Angeles and they had the conversation. So Stephen A. is a top guy in the media world for a reason. He just got paid over $100 million for a reason. He's earned the right to say. He gets paid to talk and criticize about players' performances. Doesn't get paid to talk about players and what they do and how they do it. He's paid to talk about critiquing players' performances. So if Bronny goes out to an NBA game and scores 0 points, well, guess what? He gets paid to talk about the way he played. And every other person on a national platform, from Colin Cowherd to Ryan Clark to Shannon Sharp and Nightcap to obviously Pivot to all the shows, Speak for Yourself, The Herd, all the sports shows, they get paid to do the same thing. That's criticize players. So if you're going to hold that same standard against Stephen A., hold it against everybody else. Approach everybody else that says something bad about Bronny. So at the end of the day, I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was a coward move. Then you go and say something to Richard Jefferson, your banana boat buddy, and you say something totally different. So that's my quick lick with that. And shout out to Bryant on his new segment, Hot Takes with Coach Garv. I thought it was phenomenal. Marissa, your quick takeaway.
Oh, I thought that was 100% spot on. But here's the thing. If you sign a big boy contract, you're going to have to take the big boy criticism.
Yep.
That's it.
You put the money in the bank and you want to have that moment where the showcase. I can go further. I'll go back further, all the way a bunch of years back, that broke this young man down because he stepped in the shadows of his legendary dad, as Marcus Jordan. Marcus Jordan played for Illinois, if I'm not mistaken, and he was compared so many times to his dad. And how was he going to live up to the Jordan last name? I mean, do you gentlemen recall any stats that he had in the NBA?
None.
He broke him down so bad that he didn't even pursue basketball on a professional level. Right. Because why? There's a confidence levels that rattled him because everybody was comparing him to his father and how big of a career he had. Right. We got to stop this stuff because it's great that Bronny has gotten this opportunity to come into the NBA. But he is a young man that signed a big boy contract And he has to take the criticism from those platforms that you mentioned, Monty.
I think he's handling the criticism well. I think LeBron speaks for him too much. At the end of the day, you have to allow your son to grow and branch off into his own way. And yes, Bronny was nearly almost on his deathbed dying from a very, very critical accident. And I give Bronny grace, all the grace in the world.
Yes.
But let's just call it for what it is. Is LeBron retiring after this year? No, right? I think not. Bronny should be year 2 right now at USC, getting his game better, working on his game to prepare him. The NBA isn't going nowhere. This moment that we saw on opening night with LeBron and Bronny on the court at the same time, that wasn't going nowhere. That was rushed. That wasn't organic, because if you have a Bronny that's an NBA ready now player and is playing like that, this is a whole different conversation. And the media is talking about it in a whole different perspective. But for what it has been to the level of Bronny's not ready. He's not NBA ready. The big word for his career right now in year 1, development. JJ Redick and this Lakers staff have to put him in a position to develop his game, both right now in the G League, but yet this offseason to take that next step. So I don't blame players like Anthony Edwards criticizing him and calling him out on the sideline. I don't blame Stephen A, because this just comes with the territory. So Stephen A, job well done. That's what a true professional does. And I'm looking forward to seeing with LeBron. Someone said on Twitter that LeBron's new nickname is Mr. Sensitive. So I'm just This is sensitive. I'm just saying that's just what it is. But last but not least, another new segment that's coming to the Rewind each and every week. It is Floss with Moss. That's me, baby. Bryant, he gets the credit for it. He brought up the name. But on this week's version of Floss with Moss, we take you back to last night's game, the Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. My main man, Tyrese Halliburton, nails a game winner timeout by Indiana. Here we go to play. Tyrese Halliburton gets called with 3 and 1. Boom! 114-111. Goes to the line, ties it up. Then they go ahead and take the lead. Indiana winds up winning this game, but a big shot by Tyrese Halliburton. This is what he does. Indiana 5th in the East, 20-9 at home. 26-28 record. I look to see what Indiana does as they make a push into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. But Floss with Moss, baby, you can catch it every week right here on the Rewind. Thank you, Chris. You are the greatest. I want to give a special thank you to my sister, my podcast partner in crime, Marisa Tigney, for coming on. You can catch her platform at Heard That With Podcast. But Marisa, before I sign off, give everybody where they can find you at, as well as where they can support you at on your platform, as well as your podcast.
I appreciate the invite again, gentlemen. This was absolutely fun, and I look forward to connecting with you all again. I have a YouTube channel. You can find me with Heard That with Marisa Tigney. I have a website, heardthatwithmarisa.com. You can find me on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok.
Hey, Marisa, I got one thing to tell you. The Big East been in the Final Four 43 times. The Big Ten, 66. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Who in the Big Ten? Who in the Big Ten is going to go to the Final Four, sir? Who?
Oh, this year? I don't know. No, this year they suck.
On the women's side, I can see it.
Oh, the women's side, yeah. I'm doing them. And on the men's side,
on the men's side, they'll do a cute little run.
It's going to be more to ACC, but
possibly, maybe depending on where they're going to place them at. I'll give MSU the nod because Tom Izzo knows how to get his teams ready. Maybe.
Right. He only has one national championship, by the way.
But the Big East and the Big Ten, we're gonna be sitting on the sideline this year because it's not gonna be neither one of them. So, but
find out more Selection Sunday this Sunday on CBS. They will have the breakdown of all the teams and where they will be ranked going into the tournament. You can catch that on CBS. Next week's episode of the Rewind, we will have our bracket challenge where we will be breaking down our bracket from start to finish with Brian's bracket and myself. And we will be talking about the seedings and who will make it to the Final Four. Cough, cough, St. John's. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Global Sports Entertainment 3, as well as follow us on our social medias at the Rewind _GSC3. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. March is a time to make it happen. Please like and subscribe. Tell a friend, and share. Like and share, as well as our Apple Podcast at Global Sports Entertainment 3. I want to give a special thank you to my brother, my Canadian brother, Chris in 1990 Studios, for the work they do each and every week. Without them, this is not possible. Again, thanks to my podcast partner, Prime, because I'm in my prime, partner in crime, Marisa Tigney. So from Monty to Bryant to Marisa to Chris, 1990 Studios, this is The Rewind, brought to you by GSC3, Global Sports Entertainment 3. We'll see you next week. We'll be joined by, wait till you see next week to determine that. Love you guys. See you next week. Good luck on Selection Sunday. Go St. John's, because they're winning the Big East tournament.
Let's go!
I was checking out the scouting report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me.